Ubisoft support has been talking to some people on Twitter, stating that Far Cry 6 will not be 4K resolution on the PlayStation 5, but it will be on the Series X and the Xbox One X. Let me break down on why an older console would be capable of running the game at 4K resolution while the PlayStation 5 will not. Let's get into it. Hello everyone, my name is 3Bit. Welcome to 3Bit Talks of the VGHD show. If you guys like videos like this, be sure to hit that notification bell to be notified when we post our next video. So for most people out there saying, isn't the PlayStation 5 more powerful than the PlayStation 4? Shouldn't it be more capable of doing 4K? Here's why the PlayStation 5 might not be running in 4K for this game, while the Series X and the Xbox One X, yes, even the Xbox One X, will run at 4K. Now hold your angry comments and I will explain. First, let's read the tweet from Ubisoft support to get a little clarity on what's going on. He says, "Hey there, as stated on the banner, Far Cry 6 is 4K Ultra HD on the Xbox One and Xbox Series X only. Apologies for any inconvenience caused." First off, it shouldn't be as big of a shock for the older consoles to hit 4K, considering Far Cry 5, the previous installment, runs at 4K on the Xbox One X natively, while it hits 1620p on the PS4 Pro. Ubisoft noted that the Xbox One X and the Series X will have 4K on Far Cry, but it won't have 4K on the PS5. How can that be possible? That the Xbox One X, an older console, will have 4K and the PlayStation 5 will not. That's impossible. You're a fanboy. Makes no sense. Right? Well, to me, it's really simple, but I don't think people are thinking about it this way, according to many comments I saw from that post before it was taken down. The Xbox One X is currently the most powerful console as of today. It already has some games running on it at 4K, while the PS4 Pro does not. Because it is older and has weaker architecture, the Xbox One X will most likely not have ray tracing. Same with the PlayStation 4. So taking out the ray tracing on the older consoles keeps the optimization in check, while the newer consoles take advantage of that ray tracing power, hence the PlayStation losing on both fronts there, right? So Ubisoft is probably opting to take out the ray tracing on the older consoles like the Xbox One X and the PlayStation 4 and push the resolution on the Xbox One X, push that resolution to 4K, similarly to previous Far Cry titles. It's really that simple on why the Xbox has the advantage for both the Series X and the Xbox One X, because the Series X has 52 CUs that'll help with ray tracing, and the extra GPU and CPU power in the Series X helps the console to not only have ray tracing, but it helps maintain that frame rate of 60 frames per second at a full 4K resolution. Ubisoft most likely really wants to show off some of the next gen features like ray tracing on the PlayStation 5, so people, are very impressed with the next generation, which means it won't hit that 4K resolution on either the PlayStation 4 or the PlayStation 5, because the PlayStation 4's weaker architecture and the PlayStation 5's lower CU count. Now, if they wanted to get rid of the ray tracing in the PlayStation 5, I'm sure it'll hit that 4K resolution, no problem, right? But as I said previously in my other videos, the lower count on the CU for the PlayStation 5 is really going to hurt their games if they want ray tracing. So there needed to be some sacrifice somewhere, and I think we might start seeing that in third-party titles that develop for both the Series X and the PlayStation 5. And I've said it before that this might happen, and we'll start seeing the ramifications of those weaker specs within this generation. I'm sure many developers will find ways around that lower CPU count, as PlayStation developers are some of the best in the business, and they have a lot more to work with in this generation with the Zen 2 chips. However, Sony's weaker GPU and CPU count will hurt them in terms of graphical fidelity. Their powerful SSD does not help them with frame rates or graphics. I've said it before and I'll say it again, an SSD helps load assets in, but it does not show what is on the screen. That is the GPU and the CPU's job. So expect the Series X to be the best version for several multi-platform titles. Far Cry 6 will run at a 4K 60 frames per second on its console, while the Xbox One X will be 4K without the ray tracing and most likely at a lower frame rate in order to maintain its optimization. You can expect the PlayStation 4 to run at a lower resolution at 30 frames per second and the PlayStation 5 to run at a slightly higher resolution with at 60 frames per second, included with ray tracing, but it won't hit that 4K target because of the ray tracing. So I hope that makes sense for some people. A quick summary would be that Ubisoft is opting on using ray tracing that requires a high CPU count, which the PlayStation 5 doesn't have, so it needs to lower its resolution. The CPU count is pretty high on the Series X, so there's no bottlenecking there. The Xbox One X can run the previous Far Cry titles at 4K already, and it's not aiming to do ray tracing. The PlayStation 4 can't run any of the previous Far Cry titles at 4K, so I'm not sure what's different here or why people are surprised about that. The big surprise is that the PlayStation 5 won't be able to hit it. So because of Ubisoft pushing some of these next generation features on the PlayStation 5, it's kind of unfortunate. The PlayStation 5 lacks in certain areas, and we're starting to see the ramifications with that here. It might also explain why Sony's first party titles are aiming for that resolution and fidelity rather than the frame rate. So you need a good CPU and GPU count for graphical processing, but we'll see. We'll see if this is correct. We'll see if this is even true. Maybe it is 4K 60. Sure, we'll find out towards its release. If you guys liked this video or not, let us know in the comment section down below. Don't forget to subscribe for more content from the Video Games HD. I'm 3Bit signing off. Have a good one.